You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos. In case you have not noticed, Denver Broncos are having a bit of a meltdown all of a sudden. I mean, one could say, come hell or high water, the years have been pretty successful considering what Nathaniel Hackett did last year to this team and the fact that they actually have 7 wins. That here we are at the end of the season, they're actually in the playoff conversation, or they were till they took a really bad loss to the Fighting Bailey Zappies this past weekend. Well, the spotlight is now shining bright once again on Russell Wilson. And we're just 1 week removed from this little gem on the sideline after Russell Wilson royally screwed up, but Sean Payton losing his, lack of a better way, losing his bleep. I mean, just bleeping him today. He's mother bleeping Russell Wilson right there. And I saw some media members sort of losing their minds over this. It's amazing how soft people have gotten. It really is. I mean, coming up, 80s and 90s, in my case, part of the 70s. I mean, it was nothing for a high school football coach to mother bleep every kid out there. It just is what it is. Nonetheless, Russell was getting chewed out by Sean Payton. Now, keep in mind, flashback to before the season started, and we were doing a lot of Broncos videos. We were really covering the Russell Wilson-Sean Payton dynamic. And, of course, they signed Jarrett Stidham because Sean Payton anticipated the idea that he might have to bench Russell Wilson. That's the reason why Jarrett Stidham is not a quarterback for the Raiders. My God, if they had him on the Raiders right now, holy bleep. But that's the reason that he got $5 million a year in a 2-year contract. And it was that second year of that contract. That's why Jarrett Stidham left. And obviously the idea that he might be replacing Russell Wilson, and he gets a chance to develop under Sean Payton, right? So some things were asked of Russell Wilson's future yesterday, and he didn't seem to appreciate it very much. At a press conference, he answered the questions because Russell Wilson's not one to just blatantly show his ass. He's always trying to be polite. But you could tell the question, he didn't love it. This was during the press conference right here with the media.
That's how I believe in the guys that we have. And we showed that we could do that. Obviously, we got that done in terms of the 2 touchdowns and the 2-point conversions was not easy. We got it done. And, we needed one more big play, and it didn't go our way.
Russ, what do you think your future holds for you with the Broncos?
I'm just worried about next week and playing great football. I don't know. I came here to win and win a championship for us, and find a way to do that. So, obviously I love being here with these guys and these teammates, and I'm excited to keep playing ball and and playing hard for us.
Russ, do you feel you can still make the playoffs? Does the math work or not right now?
I haven't done the math. I don't. I'm feeling this loss right now. We feel like we should have won this game. So, listen. I think the best thing that we can do is, get up tomorrow, and be with our families, this and that, and then, get back to work. And we've got 2 games to go, and those games mean a lot just for who we are and our fight and our testament of who we are and how we're going to battle back.
Russ.
Appreciate you guys. Yep.
And he just abruptly ended it. And so, number one, does it sound like he's punting on the playoffs? I mean, I understand the Broncos are a long shot. They're currently 12th. They dropped all the way back, folks. They're now behind the Raiders. They got a 7% chance of making the playoffs. It's turned into a nightmare right at the end of the year. I mean, obviously you're playing a bad Patriots team that's completely devoid of weapons, and you get them at home. And, of course, the Steelers got beat at home by the Patriots, and the Broncos got beat at home by the Patriots. They're both trying to get into the playoffs. The Steelers kind of righted the ship this past week, but You get the point. It's become a disaster, and the wheels have come off sort of right at the end of the season. So he bounced around. This is the New York Post, and he didn't love the question. But nonetheless, this is what's happening. The $37 million he'll earn in 2025 becomes guaranteed on March 17, 2024, according to the Denver Post and PFT. And Wilson's $35.4 million cap hit in 2024 would balloon to $55.4 million in 2025. His numbers have been underwhelming for a consecutive season since his trade from Seattle and a massive 5-year, $245 million extension from the Broncos. I still don't understand why they did that so quick. And following their latest defeat on Sunday, Denver has dropped 3 of their last 4 games to fade out of the playoff picture. So that's the kind of money situation that the Broncos are looking at, and they're in sort of they're not in quite the Deshaun Watson territory yet, but they're about as close as you can be to being in that kind of a mess. And Sean Payton is not happy, folks. Wilson evaded a question about his future after Christmas Eve loss to the Patriots. While Payton wasn't asked about it directly by reporters on Tuesday, a question about consistency of the offense sparked a response that could be regarded as ominous. Quote, "So many times when we look at some of that stuff, it's self-inflicted problems." Russell Wilson, you're on notice. Payton said, "That has to get cleaned up. That's communication that might be having to reduce. Is there too much in? Right now, we're average to below average in a lot of things offensively, and it's not good enough." Yikes. Given that Wilson is the straw that is stirring the drink, the fact that the drink isn't being stirred to the satisfaction of the chief bartender makes it a problem, especially since there are only 2 chances remaining for getting, quote, things cleaned up. I think the ongoing step is understanding how not to lose games before you learn how to win them. 2/3 of the games we see each weekend are lost before they're ever won. We're still learning that the hard way. And in fact, I've got PFT's quarterback rankings pulled up here. And honestly, Russell Wilson is ahead of Baker Mayfield right now, but there is no world that we're living in which these two are close to the same. And I'm going to tell you why. Their statistics aren't that far apart, all right? But when Mayfield's turned the ball over, all right, he's done it in much more hospitable parts of games. Whereas what Russell Wilson has done has been sort of backbreakers. All right, now statistically it all looks the same. But we saw yesterday exactly how much Baker Mayfield's balling out versus somebody like Patrick Mahomes. He's got a better passer rating and the same amount of touchdowns. And obviously his team is sitting there at 8-7. He's only got one more victory, but the big difference is if he wins out, he's winning his division. And this is a massive difference, his dead cap hit is $1.7 million. Russell Wilson's is, we just saw it right here, it is $55.4 million. A $53.5 million difference, basically, between the two quarterbacks. And that is where the issue comes in. I don't know what the Broncos do. They're kind of stuck in the same way that the Browns are stuck with Watson. And I got a video coming about Watson and Lamar Jackson and that situation involving the NFL owners. But it's becoming sort of a nightmare for the Broncos, and the wheels are starting to fall off. And now they're going to be faced with a really tough decision. There was a point early in the season, and at various times, people kept whispering MVP for Russell Wilson, and I was like, really? I was like, I understand he is better than he was last year. He is. There's no doubt, especially statistically, he's much better. But he still had back-breaking fumbles, and when he's thrown interceptions, they've been at the worst time, and he can't seem to make the big throw at the right time, which is something that somebody like Joe Flacco and Baker Mayfield are both doing. Neither one of them's making any money. I just wonder, over the next 2 games, the last 2 games of the season, if Jarrett Stidham will not end up in the games. It wouldn't shock me if they're out of the playoffs, if you see Stidham get the last start of the year, because Sean Payton likes him. And Sean Payton may draft a quarterback. He liked Aiden O'Connell, who's with the Raiders. It's kind of weird. A lot of connective tissue with quarterbacks in the Raiders right now and the Broncos. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.